Namo Namah.
Namo Namah, everyone. So, we are meeting after a long time. Almost, I think, 5 weeks or 6 weeks, probably. So,
For me, it is even longer.
you are not there for
Almost
last
at
session?
2 months.
Yeah, correct. So, what do you propose to do? There are less people. So, shall we do some revision? Shall we talk about the Ashtanga Yoga? Yeah?
Yeah, I think it makes sense. We just revise the Ashtanga Yoga.
Yeah,
Yama on us.
correct. So,
We'll try to cover it all in one class of today. So that,
the Ashtanga part, no?
yes.
Correct.
Till the Dharana, I think we can move on.
The
Yeah.
last thing that was there, the last class that I was there, right, was when we spoke about Tapa, Swadhyay, and Ishwar Pranidhan.
Ah.
Okay.
So
So,
after that, we did Asan, Pranayam, Pratyahar, 3 classes.
okay, Asan,
Pranayam and
Pranayam, and
Pratyahar.
so
And I think we
will
talked
this revision
Dharana.
include that?
Yeah, we'll do that. We'll do it. So we will start with the first sutra, or rather the sutra which talks about Ashtanga Yoga. See, Patanjali Yoga Sutra is also the synonym for that is Ashtanga Yoga. Raj Yoga, second name is Ashtanga Yoga because it's the very popular phenomenon. Every uh, every text, it is named after the number of chapters it has. For example, uh, Hatha Pradipika, which is the Hatha Yoga text, that is called as Chaturanga Yoga because it has got 4 chapters. Then another Hatha Yoga book is there, which is called as Gheranda Samhita. Gheranda, it is the one of the most latest texts on Hatha Yoga. It has got 7 chapters, so it is called as Saptang Yoga. So that way, Patanjali Yoga is also called as, though it has got 4 chapters, it is named after Ashtanga Yoga. So the sutra which we will start with is Yoganga Anushtanan Ashuddhi Kshaye Jnana Diptir Viveka Khyati. So one thing is there that Patanjali Yoga Sutras are very much different from many other texts. Like even Gheranda and Hatha Yoga do have some kind of religious element of that in them. They do talk of Shiva. Gheranda does talk of Vishnu. And any other text or you take, even if you take Bhagavad Gita, so there is a little religious element in that. Sanatan element is there in that. But curiously or uh, notably, Patanjali Yoga Sutra does not have any reference to any kind of religious or Puranic god or Sanatan god. Maybe that is the reason why it has sustained for 2200 years now. Okay. So why I'm saying that is because if not, because every other text, you take Puranic texts, you take any other form of yoga, say Bhakti Yoga is there, Karma Yoga, like Bhagavad Gita is there. So there, the element of surrender to God is always there. Okay. But here in Patanjali Yoga Sutra, there is no anthropomorphic form of God at all. So, what do we surrender to? And why is the surrender required? So, that is important. And that's why he talks of only metaphysical things, talks of only universal principles. He does not even say that do this or do that. There are no so-called sadhak tattva or badak tattva. That means things to be done and things not to be done. No, he doesn't say anything about that. He just lays down principles and he leaves it uh, to the sadhak
Practice, follow
practitioner
it.
who will decide whether to take it or not. And he will be aware of his actions, speech, and thought.
You want to come in here?
Yeah.
Why has it been done like this? Because the very definition which Patanjali says is yoga is chitta vritti nirodha. Nirodha is a complete stoppage of any kind of a thought pattern, because the vrittis are the thought pattern. And if thought pattern has to be stopped, and if that is being defined as yoga, then if I am defining or following certain God principle, then that is also a thought. Even if there is no God, even if I lay down a principle and I just say, this must be followed, this must not be done, then again I'm creating a thought pattern. And that is why Patanjali just goes on reporting and expressing what are the principles. And when these things are followed, this is the outcome. That is all he writes, the observation. He does not say you do ahimsa and then you will experience Vairatyaga in your life. That's why you must do ahimsa. He just says by practicing ahimsa, Vairatyaga is an outcome. And he leaves it at that. And then it is up to us. Yes, Nitin, just take it forward now.
Yes. So on the Ashtanga Yoga topic by itself, it starts with this sutra 2.28, Yoganga Anushthanat, by getting established in Yoga Anga. Which Anga? The Ashtanga, 8 Angas. By being established in that, what happened? Ashuddhi Kshaya. Ashuddhi is the impurities. What kind of impurities does he hint at? All kinds of impurities. That means it could be physical impurity. That means it could be body impurities like uh, Vata, Pitta, Kapha. Imbalance of Vata, Pitta, and Kapha. And impurities of mind. That is the kleshas. Right? So, Pancha kleshas. And he also hints at the Lobha, Krodha, Moha. Though he has mentioned only three, so we can understand there are six of these enemies of mind. Lobha, Krodha, Moha, Mada, Matsar. And what else? Last is? Yeah, what is the sixth one? Lo,
Lobha, kama, krodha, moha,
Kama,
mada,
Krodha,
and
Moha,
matsya.
Lobha. Yeah. So that is what he has mentioned somewhere in the Yama Niyama. So these are the impurities. So by getting established in the Ashtanga Yoga, there will be first of all Ashuddhikshaya. These Ashuddhis will be removed. Second is when these Ashuddhis are removed, automatically your inner light, Jnana Dipti, it will illuminate. What is this concept of inner light? So there is a strong belief in this text as well as in many of the Indian texts that we have all the intelligence which is required in the outside world within us itself. हमारे अंदर ही है वो. So why we are not able to utilize that inner intelligence? Because of this ashuddhi, because of these impurities, we are not able to use this inner light. And there's a strong belief that if you remove these impurities, the inner light will self-illuminate, and by illumination, by self-illumination, the outer world also gets illuminated, and you get what? You get knowledge. So that knowledge of what type is the highest discriminative knowledge which you will get, which is called by Patanjali as Vivek Khyati. The power to discriminate each and everything, whatever you see in the external and internal world, it is illuminated by the inner light. And that itself, when you have knowledge of everything outside and inside you, that itself is going to take you to liberation. That is the whole story of Ashtanga Yoga. Okay. So, any discussion or explanation required on this? Any?
So on this premise, he moves into the eight limbs.
Hmm. So, he unfolds these Yoganga, that is Ashtanga Yoga, which is Yama, Niyama, Asan, Pranayam, Pratyahar, Dharana, Dhyan, and Samadhi. These are the 8 limbs. Out of these 8 limbs, 5 limbs are external, which are called as Bahiranga Yoga. So, Bahiranga is Yam, Niyam, Asan, Pranayam, Pratyahar. Why? Because here you need to interact with the world, or you need to have interaction with the outer world. Yama, you will, as you will see later in the revision, that Yama, Niyama both are something to do with the outer world. You are in touch, you are in contact with the outer world. Asan, though it's your own asan, there is a body which is involved in that, and body is considered as outer. Body is an external appearance. And pranayam, though pranayam, we consider that pranayam as an internal thing for us today. From yoga point of view, from Sankhya point of view, even energy is external to your own self. Your body is external to your own self. Your energy is also external to your own self. That is why it is considered as a Bahiranga Yoga. And Pratyahar. Pratyahar, certainly it is external, because Pratyahar is to do with your senses. So why the senses are required? Because to interact with the outer world. So obviously it is Bahiranga Yoga. Yes, Sandhya, you wanted to say something?
Ah. The energy is external because energy is changing. Sometimes I can be in low energy or I can be in high energy. But the self, which is a constant principle, or the Purusha, is changeless. And that is why that which is changing will be the external aspect. That's why the prana is external energy, which is prana.
And the latter 3 limbs, which is Dharana, Dhyan, and Samadhi, these are Antaranga, because in the, if you remember, the 25 evolutes of Sankhya, the upper 3 evolutes, which come before your.
Did we discuss Sankhya in this class?
Mm,
I don't think we discussed Sankhya in this
No,
class.
no, no,
no.
So
Nitin.
for the 25,
Okay.
the,
No,
So anyway,
we didn't discuss Sankhya. We didn't discuss 25.
oh, you have
yeah,
not discussed the 25. No problem. Doesn't matter. But just to explain it very simply without complicating things, there
Mhm.
is Prakriti is the nature, and the nature evolves into, in us and in human beings, it evolves into some of the higher evolutes and lower evolutes. Higher evolutes are our intellect, then our identity, and third is our mind. Our intellect, identity, and mind. Buddhi, ahankar, and manas. Okay. And these three are your antaranga. These three are can be considered as your inner world.
Principles. It
Sorry?
is Antaranga. Antaranga is subtle.
Hmm.
It is not seen, but it is experienced. The body is seen, experienced, used, and used as a means. So that is why it is a Bahiranga. So the Yama, in Yama, when we are practicing Ahimsa, Satya, Asteya, we are interacting with the external world, and that is why it is a Bahiranga. In Niyama, they are the principles which we need to follow for our own self growth. So whether it is a shaucha, whether it is a santosha, it is a self discipline. So for that you need to have your own existence. So that is why niyama is also coming under the external practice, because shaucha is a practice, tapa is a practice, ishwar pranidhana is an external tool that we are imbibing. Asana, pranayam, and pratyahar. All these are external because we are using the body, which is a gross element, for achieving certain next step in the sadhana. That is why it is a bahiranga or bahyanga. And when we are coming to the antaranga, that means we do not need the external gross facilities for moving ahead in the path of yoga. By sitting in my meditation, by concentrating, by contemplating, I am able to move further एंड कम टू रियलाइज, जैसे अभी नितिन जी ने कहा, जो है सब अपने अंदर है, तो अपने अंदर से निकालने के लिए it is your own instinct. So for that, that thing is very internal to you, and which is very subtle. It is, that is why it is antaranga. I just gave thought of an example at this point. अभी
You
अभी
will clear
मैच
it.
क्रिकेट की, तो वो बुमराह का अभी बहुत एक अच्छा बॉलिंग किया था उसने, एंड द बैट्समैन आल्सो फेल डाउन, एंड देयर वाज अ स्टंप आउट, राइट? सो एवरीबॉडी रिमेंबर्स दैट. So at that time he was being guided how to do the bowling. There was somebody offering him the suggestion कि तुम ऐसा करो, and he just said no, no, I know what to do and I'll do it. That I know comes from internal understanding, and that internal understanding by which he said it, it is his antaranga sadhana, because of your practice, because he is master. He has skilled the bowling skill so much so that at that very point उसको अंदर से ही पता था कि अब मुझे कैसा बॉलिंग करना है और ये मैं इसको आउट करूंगा. He already had envisioned it in his mind, so that's why he didn't take the counsel from the other person, and he just did it, and that ball and that wicket made a history. So that's something which is the antaranga sadhana, which comes from within a person. Yes,
Yeah.
take it forward.
So, yeah, so why when we start learning about Ashtanga Yoga, we should know why we are learning Ashtanga Yoga. We are not learning Ashtanga Yoga to do better asana, to demonstrate better asana. Neither we are doing it to gather a lot of energy through pranayam and remove all the diseases. Yes, that's a benefit, but that is not the purpose for us to do Ashtanga Yoga. Neither it is to be away from the external signals and keep our senses blocked or drawn inwards. That is also a benefit, but that's not the purpose of doing Ashtanga Yoga. Concentration, yes, concentration is also a means. And progressing towards the samadhi, all these are means. That means what? Everything which is given in Ashtanga Yoga is a means. But the final purpose for which you are doing this is kaivalya or liberation. Okay. And that kaivalya or liberation is possible only if you master the only tool which is the strongest tool or the single most tool which has been mentioned in Patanjali Yoga Sutra, which is samadhi. Samadhi is equal to yoga, yoga is equal to samadhi. And samadhi means complete absorption in any object without even having consciousness of yourself. You're losing the self identity and you are focusing or you are having the knowledge of any object. It could be an internal or outer object. The entire third chapter is based on that. But before that, we will see now the all the Ashtanga Yoga, the 8 limbs. The first limb is Yama. Why do we need Yama? Because very, very important in today's age, because today we are in an age where there is huge amount of interaction with the world, with outer people, outside people. Maybe it is personally, physically, it may be through the digitally, mostly digitally, but even if it is digitally or personally through any means, it evokes the kind of emotions or they evokes the kind of reactions which normally we experience. And those reactions or those emotions are the ones which take our mind outward and they will lead to the vitarka. Vitarka is the disturbances or the mala or the ashuddhi which he talks about. Okay, how? Let us see that. So for that he says that if you want to remove all the vitarkas, then you need to master these 5 rules or these 5 yamas. Which are those? First is ahimsa, then satya, asteya, brahmacharya, and aparigraha. So, what are these 5? Okay? And while explaining these 5 yamas, he just says, he lays down the principle, as I told you earlier, that by following satya or by following ahimsa, what will happen? By following satya, what will happen? By following asteya, what will happen? So on. He does not say follow this. He says that this is the rule. This is how the reality unfolds. Now you know the reality, you have awareness of it. It will lead you to the right path automatically. You don't have to be guided by anyone. He doesn't talk of any guru. No guru required. This is a text which does not say at any time you need a guru. Okay. So because he says that I'm going to tell you the final truth. If you understand the final truth, then you don't need anything else. You can live your life according to this, and you can reach the final point, destination, which is the uh, Kaivalya. So the first thing is ahimsa. But before listing out these ahimsa, satya, he says that when I'm telling you following ahimsa to the hilt, then it has to be followed as a mahavrata. Mahavrata means at any point, at any place, at any time, in any situation, it has to be followed. You can't say that, chalo, have come to Bangkok, yeah, then I can't have brahmacharya. That is not allowed. Or you can't say that, okay, I am in politics, yeah, थोड़ा तो झूठ बोलना पड़ता है. I am a lawyer, थोड़ा तो झूठ बोलना पड़ता है. No, that is not allowed. So he says, but he doesn't even give you the example that okay, this person has followed it this way. He says he lays down a principle. He even doesn't say that someone has achieved it or someone it will take so much time to achieve. No, no, no. He doesn't say anything of that sort. That is given in Hatha Yoga. But here he doesn't say that. He says if it is followed to that extent, then what happens? Okay. So yeah, and for that he says if it is followed as a Mahavrata. Mahavrata is actually a Jain principle. What we follow, even if we say that I'm following Asteya or I'm following Satya, Ahimsa, it is Anuvrata. Anuvrata means it is a limited vow. At some point, you will break that. Okay, it may not harm anybody, maybe not even you in that situation, but it is a violation. Here he says, if when it is followed as a Mahavrata, then it is called as Yama. Okay. So, so the first Yama he says is Ahimsa. Ahimsa, so we talked that Ahimsa can be done in how many ways? First of all, Ahimsa can be done in action. Oh, sorry, Hinsa can be done in action. It can be done in speech or in thought. Okay, Hinsa done in action, speech, and thought. Second level of parameters which he says is Hinsa can be done by your own self. It can be done through someone, or it can be there can be an anumodan of that. That means you are approving of that Hinsa. That is the second level of three, parameters. Next three are, it can be done in what intensity, small, medium, or large intensity. Mrudu, madhya, adi. And the next three are out of what is the root cause of that hinsa? So lobha, krodha, moha. That's what he says. Because you have greed for something, that hinsa came out. Because you had infatuation towards something, it came out as a hinsa. Or because you were angry, rag, it came out. Okay. Lobha, krodha, moha. Krodha is not rag. Rag, I used the Marathi word. Krodha is anger. Okay. So if you take the permutation combination 3 to 3 into 3, 27 different ways in which you can perform hinsa, you can do hinsa. And if you take that which is not listed by Patanjali, which is action, speech, and thought, then into 3 is 81 ways in which you can follow hinsa or you can do hinsa. And each of these hinsas, he calls them as vitarka. We did one class on Sanskar Bhidan, where we talked about this, that if you know what kind of hinsa you are doing, it will be called as vitarka. And there is a way to reverse that vitarka. If you know that I'm performing hinsa, at that point of time, there is a trick, there is a technique by which you can reverse. And that principle is called as Pratipaksha Bhavanam. Vitarka Badhane Pratipaksha Bhavanam. Okay. So all this requires a lot of awareness and attention. And that is why in the beginning of our PYS 2.0 itself, we introduced the uh, review of the day, okay, or the reflection of the day. So only through reflection can you increase the awareness of the particular moment. That is why that was our basic building block for this PYS 2.0. So अहिंसा फॉलो करने से क्या होता है? अहिंसा प्रतिष्ठायाम तत्सन्निधौ वैर त्याग. That means if you are following ahimsa, you and anyone who is coming in your vicinity will be away from any kind of hostility. No hostility for someone who is established in hinsa. Obviously, what it means is your path is very clear. You don't have any fear, no fear of anything, because you are following ahimsa. No one can be against you. No one can have any intention of hostility towards you. So that is first principle. Second principle is Satya. For Satya is the sutra says Satya Pratishtayam Kriya Phala Ashrayatvam. Kriya Phala Ashrayatvam means whatever you are doing, your action, the result of that you will get 100%. Okay. So if you are playing a match, you will win. And if you want to eat something, you will get it. If you want to follow fast, you will be able to do it. That is a simple example of Kriya Phala Shrayatva, which does not happen normally. We says, no, man decides and what is that saying?
God proposes, man disposes.
Yeah, something like that, whatever. So you want to do something and God
Data.
has other plans for you. So here it's not that way. So it's like you propose and you will do it. So you become a God. So here actually he says that if you are in vicinity of any yogi who has achieved this Satya Pratishtayam, then even if he says, okay, go, today's match is going to be won by RCB, so RCB will win the match because he has said it. And whatever he says comes true because he is almost like a god. Godhood aa gaya hai. Okay, that is Satya. No, so jokes apart, uh, this is
So
very.
it has to be understood in a way that a person who is established in Satya, he is actually very closely connected with the laws of nature. So he is able to sense what is there as a larger
Plan.
larger design. And since he is connected with that larger design, he expresses it, and we think what he said has come true. That is how, we should look at it.
Okay.
He's so fine tuned to the nature, so he expresses it and it happens. Or
Yeah.
else he will not say, or else he will not say only.
Yeah, if it is not going to happen, he will not say it.
He will not say.
Correct. The next is Asteya. Asteya Pratishayam Sarva Ratnopasthanam. Yes, Anuradha.
Sir, just before we go ahead, I might disconnect anytime. So I just wanted to share that. Uh, yeah, so about ahimsa, this point is also important, that ahimsa towards self also. Yeah,
Of
so
course.
when we are very harsh on our own selves,
Absolutely.
so that also needs to be understood, that एक I had read on एक कविता थी कि दर्पण में देखा कि कि सबसे ज्यादा दुखी मैंने किसे किया है.
अपने आप को
We tend to be very
harsh.
guilt all the time, with ridden with guilt, and that is also one thing, one point. And about Satya, absolutely, it is like you said ना, जो भी होगा पूरा होएगा. इट्स लाइक तथास्तु, जो पहले के योगीज कहते थे,
Yes.
तथास्तु हो जाता था. एंड दैट इज, इफ वॉट एवर इज इन माई हार्ट इज वॉट आई एम स्पीकिंग, and whatever I'm speaking, my action, all the three are totally united.
Very
यहाँ
true.
कितनी बार होता है कि आई प्रेज समवन कि तू कितनी अच्छी लग रही है, एंड मन में बोलती है कि क्या बकवास ड्रेस पहनी है. वी से समथिंग एल्स, एंड इन अवर हार्ट वी हैव समथिंग एल्स, एंड अवर एक्शन शो समथिंग. That is totally against Satya. So Satya, all three should be in unison. I just wanted to say this.
Got
It's
it.
like
Very
basically.
true. So no, but again, Patanjali does not say that. Patanjali
I
does
mean,
not
many commentators, I
comment
have
that.
of course read it
Commentators
in
will say that
so many
because that's
different
an
books. Yeah,
interpretation.
yeah,
Correct.
interpretation, but I feel it's very, very useful
Absolutely true.
to
Absolutely.
live to change our attitude and behavior in life.
Absolutely. So you will never see a plant killing itself or animal committing suicide. I haven't,
Hmm.
I haven't come across any dog who's committed suicide, however much pain he may be in. So that's Satya. Aste is Sarva Ratnopasthanam. That means if you stick to owning or showing ownership only on the things which you deserve, then all the world's riches will be available to you whenever you want. That is what a simple thing. So basically, it talks about honesty and being firmly established in that honesty or in that uh, on ownership on only your whatever you deserve. Then you will not wish for something which you don't deserve. And if you don't wish for something which you deserve, always you will have the best of the things in the world. Okay? That is us there, non-stealing. Then comes brahmacharya. Brahmacharya is staying away from indulgence.
Sir, non-stealing, again, we can also, like we have discussed this before also, non-stealing is also not just stealing of some objects, but stealing
Everything.
others' time, stealing the credit,
Credit,
all that.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Stealing time, stealing credit, uh,
Yeah.
anything.
Money, advantage, taking advantage.
Power. You ask someone to do something, अरे जा रहा है तो मेरे लिए ये लेके आ. So all these things also.
सर अभी मैंने मेरी सिस्टर को बोला मेरे लिए दही लेके आ, बट दैट्स ओके ना.
You will have to face consequence of that.
She was going out, so told her. I wanted to attend the class. Okay.
Good. So that's what it is. No? See, the whole thing is, point is, we are not following Mahabharata. Let's realize this. We cannot be anywhere near the Mahabharata of all these Yama Niyama. But let's understand where we are not following and let's understand the Vitarka in us. Because when you find the fault, when you have the Vitarka, it's not to demean you, it's an opportunity to work on those Vitarka. How? Patanjali is given the way. Vitarka Badhane Pratipaksha Bhavanam. Pratipaksha. So that gives a direction to your thought, to your imagination, to your vision. Okay, so brahmacharya is
So just a minute, taking the example of asking sister to get the curd. When it was a very, if it is a very simple act wherein you just want to attend the class and that is why you are doing it. I mean, there is a cause reason for you, justifiable reason. But if you are always waiting for an opportunity कि अभी वो बाहर कोई कब बाहर जाएगा और मैं उसको बोलूं मेरे लिए ये करके ला, that is a problem.
ये
बोलिए
सब
अभी तो
इंटरप्रिटेशन है. ये
हाँ या
थोड़ा
बिल्कुल.
इंटरप्रिटेशन है.
What I feel, sir, what I feel in all
ये
this, the
Krodha Purvakano. So is it your moha? Is it your krodha or is it your lobha? Only you know it. What is the
yes,
intent behind that act?
intention. What is in your heart? That is the most important. Is
So
it कि
just
मुझे पे नहीं करना है दही को लिए इसलिए बोल दिया, या is it मुझे क्लास अटेंड करना है इसके लिए?
Absolutely. So if you break it down, it will come to Karita, but very small, Mrudu, and not out of Lobha Krodha Moha into zero ho gaya khatam. No, it's not. Anyway, so that's for each one of us to analyze for our own self. What is our Vitarka? Brahmacharya Pratishtha, Virya Labh. If you don't indulge, indulgence is what? Indulgence is pampering our senses. We do it every day. So if we are able to catch it and if we are able to reverse it, प्रतिपक्ष भावना उसके ऊपर हम लोग कर पाते हैं and you nullify all these moments where you indulge in the sensory pleasures. It does not mean that you are not entitled to pleasure. Definitely you are entitled to pleasure, but just the way, you are flowing in the river and a scenery comes in your way and then in another second you are not having it. That's all. So it's just a passing by. A passerby enjoys something which is coming in his way as a scenery, and when it's gone, there is the next thing. So it in fact gives you opportunity to enjoy more and more things in the life and not get stuck to one thing. Getting stuck is the indulgence. Okay. So that indulgence, if you stay away from it, it is called as brahmacharya. That includes all kinds of pleasures of all five senses. But if you stay away from it, then brahmacharya happens. You stay close to Brahma, that is God. Then there is virya labh. Virya labh is
Sorry.
infinite energy. You are a reservoir of infinite energy. Okay. So that is about indulgence. And the last is aparigraha. Aparigraha is non-possessiveness, not being possessive about anything, about things, about memory, about people, about anything. That means again having a passerby attitude. Okay? Whatever comes your way, it's there for you. It is yours for that moment. When it goes, it is not you. Now, that is exactly why sannyasis or yogis don't have families. When you have a family, you cannot be a passerby. Today you are my wife, tomorrow someone else will be. ऐसा नहीं हो सकता है. So we are having binding as a family. So that's what I'm saying, that we don't fall in this 100% following of the yamas, but we should know what it is, and we should know what is a vitarka, which is disturbing us, and try to get away from that. So aparigraha is non-possessiveness, and if you follow aparigraha, then the labh or the benefit of that, result of that, Patanjali says, is janma kathanta sambodha. That means you will remember why you were born. So when you when you become non-possessive of even your memories, then your memory can go even to the last birth, and you know what exactly is the reason for your birth. And when you know the reason for your birth, you get a purpose for this life. Then your life does not become only eat, sleep, have fun, or make a huge fortune for yourself and preserve something for the next generation. No, this is an ordinary way of living. When you know what you are supposed to be born for. Why? Because when you when you don't live for only this life, when you live for the purpose for which you are born, then you're at the end of the life, it is expected that you will be serving that purpose, you will be solving that purpose, and so you will not be born again. And that is what is the whole intention, kaivalya again. So that
In
is
parigraha, when there is aparigraha is non-holding or not collecting. And when we are doing parigraha, that means we are getting stuck or association or hankering over some things around us. That is what is happening in parigraha. The minute we start doing that, we start having a lower motive in life. The minute we are into the aparigrahas, the minute we are disassociating with things around us, we are coming to a higher purpose in life. Otherwise, we will be belittling ourselves. And the more I am giving out, the more I am letting go things, I will be coming to a subtler and subtler purpose of my life, and which is obviously Kaivalya. So that is how the aparigraha will help me to Janma Kathanta Sambodha. That means they in the yoga text it is said that you come to know about your past lives also by doing this. So ultimately, you are coming, you're realizing your own life story. It is it makes you realize how you are continuously setting yourself into that world. And once you realize I am into this world, that is how there is a way out. So aparigraha is making you realize that you are stuck in the world of life. And the minute you realize that you are stuck in the world of life, you will automatically be moving to a higher goal. And that's why it is a Janma Kathanta. So ultimately, what is the purpose of going through all these lives? So there is some higher purpose, and that's where we will reach to.
And
So
also,
that with that we finish the five. Yeah.
sorry.
Yeah.
So when Sandhya ma'am was talking about it, I just thought that how so beautifully this can be connected with Chitta Vritti Nirodha, because we are letting go of all the useless thoughts, reducing it, not accumulating. And that is why, like you said, higher purpose means understanding our own true self. How beautifully it's, and
Yeah.
there are so many different ways of it. Just struck me ki, yeah,
Interpretation. That's why
yeah,
each
you
time you
let
learn Patanjali Yoga Sutra, you try to read, you'll find a new meaning out of it.
yeah, you let go of all those useless thoughts. Less and less thoughts means chitta vritti, and that means you will know your own true self, and that means you will know even your past lives ka knowledge. Yeah, so nice. And before that is brahmacharya, that is also like everything in moderation, like no indulgence, moderation. Then you just go on throwing off all those things that are really not going to help us to progress in this path.
When we are studying Ashtanga or we want to practice Ashtanga, we have to and first always remember that there was one tough path of Abhyasa and Vairagya offered. Then the simpler path of Kriya Yoga was offered. And then this is the common man's path, which is a Ashtanga Yoga. So this is the simplest way of most simplified path of yoga that Patanjali could dissect for all of us. अभी इससे और सिंपल नहीं हो सकता है. So if we think that this is something very tough है, ये तो आउट ऑफ द वर्ल्ड है, ये ऐसा करना मुश्किल है, पॉसिबल नहीं है, तो अपने को जितना समझा, जितना भाग गया, उतना करने का और फिर बाकी छोड़ देने का. Because
I have a different view, Sandhya, on this thing. It's not about
very frustrating, because why I am coming to this point is because we the purpose of our this series of lectures, season 2, was how I can put yoga into my day-to-day practice. So if one feels that this is something out of the world, this is not practicable at all, कि इतना अहिंसा कैसे पॉसिबल है, इतना सत्य कैसे पॉसिबल है, तो इसलिए जैसे नितिन ने अभी अभी कहा, महाव्रत की जगह अनुव्रत ले लो, जितना अपने से बनता है उतना करो. जो अगर आपको दिया चाहिए अभी, पर दिया के लिए अभी आपको 100 वोल्ट का लाइट चाहिए, पर वो 100 वोल्ट का लाइट चाहिए के लिए उसके लिए जो बेसिक प्रिपरेशन है, अगर वो आपके पास नहीं है, तो आपको 10, 5, 2 जो है उससे ही काम चलाना पड़ेगा. उससे चलाते चलाते आपका कैपेसिटी जैसे बढ़ेगा, उतना वो वोल्टेज धीरे धीरे बढ़ के आप उधर पहुंच जाने वाले हैं.
my view is different from this thing. What I
ओके.
what I think is when you know what is the best, you know what is the negative or what is where you are lacking. Otherwise, you will never know. Otherwise, you have the thought that whatever is happening is correct, whatever I am doing is the right thing. And when you know what is the vitarka, what is the fault, where, and that does not mean that I am something inferior. That is something, it's like when you're cleaning something, it is already clean, but then you are looking at the lens and then you are cleaning some small dust particle. Yes, it may be something like that. So that is the vitarka. And the Patanjali says that vitarka badhane pratipaksha bhavanam. That is the action point. He does not tell you that you be normal, 1000 नहीं तो 10 से चलाओ. He has never said that. He says that 10 है तो 10 से 1000 देने जाने का ये रास्ता है, उस रास्ते को अपनाओ. वितर्क बाधने प्रतिपक्ष भावना. प्रतिपक्ष, make it as a way of your thinking, as a way of your life. Okay, so that is yamas. And coming to niyama. In niyama, the first one is shaucha. Shauchanga, shauchat swanga jugupsa paraira samsarga. Physical cleanliness, if you are physically clean, very, very clean, in all ways, then you will have detachment from the body. You will not have any attachment towards body at all. Swanga jugupsa. And we will have indifference toward the other's body or non-attachment towards other's body also. That is the first niyama. So niyama is about self-observance. Yama is about societal or the outer discipline. Then the second sutra, Shaucha is the only yama or only yama niyama combination which has got two sutras. That means Patanjali treats is different from the other things because Shaucha is outward and inward also, body and mental. So in mental Shaucha, he says that if you follow mental Shaucha, what will you achieve? Sattva Shuddhi, Saumanasya. Sattva Shuddhi is you will gather sattva. Basically, you will purify your sattva. Purify it, and that means remove the tamas rajas and become a more purer thing. Saumanasya is cheerfulness. Then you will, that means if you follow the mental shaucha, you will remain cheerful. Then ekagra. Ekagra is one pointed. Indriya control of senses. Atma Darshan, vision of the self. You will get capability of all these things when you have mental shaucha. Okay, that is the sutra about shaucha. Next is anything else? Sanjay, you want to say?
No, 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 no.
Next is santosh. Santosh is very, very important for our day-to-day life because it says santosha is contentment. Contentment means being happy in what you have just now or what you have access to just now. And if you remain content in that, then you will have unexcelled happiness in life, which is very important. You'll see a yogi will be always very, very happy. Why? Because he's contented with whatever even if he is in a horrible state, even if he is in darkness, there is no power or there is a lot of dirt around. Okay, he has intentions of cleaning it, but he is not unhappy. He is not discontent with the current situation. That is a very, very important. So he doesn't say that you should not have ambition to improve, but your ambition to improve should not result into discontentment of the current state. Current state is what has been given to you, and that's the best thing which can be given to you. God has given you these conditions, which is the best thing which could be possible in the given circumstances. It is the best thing, believe me, because anything other than that would be will be less valuable for you. And in this best situation, be happy with whatever you are having now, but intend for a better world. You can have ambition for making it better. However, just now what you are having, it has to be, you have to be content with it. That will give you unexcelled happiness, santosh. Anything else we said on this?
Yeah,
Yeah.
in Santosh, I would like to add something contentment because this is often a debatable point only. Because if I feel I am content with whatever I am having, then I will not have the urge to go forward. So that is the way one would normally look at it. But I think the ambitious or having more, wanting more, what we think in our worldly life is different than what contentment is being spoken of here. Yeah? I often think of a small child. Anytime we have a confusion and we are having doubt about a principle, we just have to look at the child. For a child, there is no concept of less or more, contentment or discontentment. That concept is not there in child. They are just being. So just that beingness itself is contentment. If I'm able to just be in that beingness, then moving ahead is easy, because for a child, he has no scarcity consciousness at all. So whatever he thinks, the child thinks that he can fly, the child thinks he can jump, because that kind of a wider spectrum is available, and that wider spectrum comes because of having this santosha, and the child naturally has that santosha. So that is how we can interpret it.
And also, I feel when we have santosha, we rise above rag and dvesh. Totally.
Yeah.
Like then we won't be attached or we won't run
Yeah.
away from that.
So this is connected with the klesha also. It does relate with klesha. And the next is tapa. Next set of three is tapa, swadhyaya, ishwar, pranidhan. Tapa is effort. Tapa is going through penance. Okay. Why does the yogi go through penance, which causes difficulty, which causes pain to his body and mind? Because he wants to be able to look at pain and pleasure in the same way. And he wants to create a thorn by which the other pains can be removed. If there are any other pains in his life, then he is developing this strength, inner strength through tapa, so that he can remove the other pains in his life. Because this pain is something which he has taken by himself. You are doing fasting. You are doing fasting not because there is no food available for you. You have chosen to not eat. But by that choosing to not eat, there is some pain. Obviously, when you fast, you will feel hungry and there'll be urges. But then you have that power to stay away because you have mentally decided that today I'm not going to eat. By exercising that power, you are building the inner strength. And that is why Patanjali says, Kayendra Siddhir Ashuddhi Kshaya Tapasah. Kaya or Indriya ki Siddhi. You get victory over body and senses because you're developing that power of staying away from the pleasure and accepting pain willfully you're doing that. So it's kind of exercise. When you go to the gym, you lift weights. Why? It's pleasurable. That's why. No, because you want to build your muscle. So this is like building muscle, mental muscles. Okay. So that is the tapa. Swadhyaya. Swadhyaya ishta devata samprayoga. That means swadhyaya is self-awareness, self-observation. Okay. So that self-observation and self-awareness, उसमें self जो है, that self is something which we have not understood yet. We are trying to understand. So knowing more about self only is going to give you self-awareness and self-observation. So by reading texts, reading scriptures, doing prayers, these are all the ways by which swadhyaya can be developed. Okay? And when you do that, what happens? Ishta Devata Samprayoga. That means your uh, deity, your inner deity, it will always guide you to do the right things. You'll be away from what you're not supposed to do. You will do the right things in life. Okay? That is Swadhyaya. And Ishwar Pranidhan is having the humility and going towards an infinite or going towards the perfect, which means you are accepting that you are not perfect. So here Patanjali is accepting that you are a human being. You can never be perfect. There is something which is more perfect than you. If you have that attitude, that humility, your efforts to improve yourself will always be there. So I think Patanjali is a very, very positive philosopher, and always he wanted you to move towards progress. So I think that is all. That's the Yama and Niyama. Anything else? Anyone
Just
wants to?
want the talk about Ishvara, because right in the beginning we just discussed that Patanjali does not talk about God or anything like that. So, and now we are having this Ishwar Pranidhana as a concept. So, Ishvara is a very ideal kind of a consciousness principle. That is how Patanjali, right in the beginning of the first chapter, describes what does he mean by the term Ishvara, and it is a consciousness which is free of any kind of karmic
Patient.
bond. Yeah, so it's a
Klesha
consciousness
karma vipaka.
not have any karmic bond, it does not have any klesha bond, so it is a free spirit. So that is why, and it's a very ideal, so to say, because nobody has that, but it is a, I think in mathematics we assume to find an equation, we have to assume one x or y. I think here in the same way Patanjali assumes one Vishesha Purusha, and once we have that Vishesha Purusha, then we can solve the puzzle of reaching to the Kaivalya.
Yeah.
And
So,
Ishwar Pranidhan, like surrendering, is also we can connect it with the one that slok of Bhagavad Gita.
hmm.
No, right on the result that is like totally surrendering to that. Right? We can connect it with that.
But Patanjali says, through Ishwar Pranidhan, what you achieve is Samadhi Siddhi.
Hmm.
Samadhi Siddhi means if you are always in that Sharan, that surrender attitude, then at your own will, you can be in the state of Samadhi at any time.
It's like shortcut
It's a
to go
shortcut.
reach Samadhi. No need to go through so many different.
No, he has not said that no need to go through that.
No, meaning shortcut है ना. What is the sutra saying?
Yeah, technically, yes.
Dhi means, dhi indicates buddhi, denotes understandings. Dhi is buddhi, and samadhi, that is samabhav में स्थित बुद्धि. तो
Sit
समभाव में स्थित होने वाली बुद्धि तभी होगी जब मेरे को, मैंने सरेंडर किया है. अगर मैं सरेंडर नहीं कर रहा हूं तो मैं हूं ही. तो जब तक मैं हूं तब समाधि कहाँ होने वाला है. सो वो मैं जाएगा तो समाधि हो जाएगा.
Yeah. So Samadhi is self-dissolve, resolution. That is the definition of that. Okay. So this is all Yama Niyama, what the first two angas which he has said. The third anga is the most common which we know of, which is asan. तो आसन में क्या है? स्थिर सुखम आसनम. That is the definition. Patanjali does not talk of any complicated asanas. He doesn't give you any pictures that this asana should be done this way. He just says any kind of posture which keeps you steady and comfortable. Sthira and sukha is an asana. And that asana is required so that you can remove your mind, or you can stay away from your body. Your mind can stay away from your body. And how can you do that? He says that for that the process is prayatna shaitilya ananta samapattibhyam. Prayatna shaitilya means when you are in any physical posture, you should be able to release all the efforts. There should not be any effort to stay in that position, and your mind should be dissolved in the infinity. It should be absorbed in the infinity. In that position is called as asana. So why and what is the benefit of staying in that kind of a position where you have released the efforts, body is still and comfortable, and your mind is absorbed in the infinity? By doing that, tato dvandva anabhighat. That means from that you will be free from all the opposites. What opposites? Heat and cold, hunger and fullness, pain and pleasure, comfort and discomfort, everything. You will be there will be no signals of this kind from the body. And when there are no signals of this kind of the body, you can stay steady. Your body is comfortable. Sometimes you're there, you just lie down and you stay steady, and your mind becomes very, very focused. It's free to focus in one direction. That's what is a prerequisite. And that itself is one of the ways of going into infinity, that is into the samadhi sthiti. So asana is also one of the angas by which you can reach the highest level. Just like yama niyama, in yama also he said that through aparigraha you can reach the highest, and in niyam also he said you can reach the highest through samadhi, through Ishwar Pranidhan. That way, in asana also you can go to the highest by staying in the perfect position of asana. And the next is pranayam. In pranayam, he has first defined what is pranayam. So pranayam matlab tasmin sati shwasa prashwasa yor gati vicheda pranayam. That means the natural, whatever is your natural momentum of inhalation and exhalation, if you break that natural momentum, that effort itself is called as pranayam. So just now, if you consciously prolong your breath, you are doing pranayam. If you consciously hold your breath out or in, you are doing pranayam. So this is the simplest definition of pranayam. Okay. So tasmin sati shwasa prashwasa yor gati vichhed pranayam. Then the second thing he says, bahyabhyantar stambha vrittir deshakala sankhya bhi paridrushto dirgha sukshma. That means that there are three ways in which it can be done. While breathing out, you can break the momentum, bahya. Abhyantar, while breathing in also you can break the momentum. And stambha vritti, that means while retaining inside or retaining the breath outside also, you can break the normal momentum, the natural momentum of the breath. And all these are kind of, you can say they are pranayam. And you can have variations in that. What variations? Desha, Sankala, and Sankhyabi. Desha means you can focus on any stay, or you can make the breath stay at some position, or you can prolong it for whatever number of whatever duration you want, Kala, and you can do it any number of times, Sankhya. So with permutation combinations of this, you can make your breath paridrushto dirgha sukshmaha. Dirgha means you can make your breath prolonged and subtle. So this prolonged and subtleness of the breath is the result of your pranayam. And the next result of that, bahyabhyantara vishayakshepi chaturtha is the next sutra. If you keep doing this thing, then you will feel, you will at some point you will reach where bahya or abhyantara, when your breath is stopping outside or inside, vishayakshepi, uh, it is not transcending to any object. That means it stops by itself. This is called as Keval Kumbhak in Hatha Yoga. Here it is called as just a Chaturtha, fourth way of, or fourth type of pranayam. Okay. So this will not happen immediately. It will only happen through practice. But that is also a natural way of attaining
Yes.
pranayam.
It will just happen. We don't
Yeah.
make it happen. It'll be just a natural stoppage.
So by doing this, what are the benefits? The benefits are tatakshiyate prakashavarnam. We talked about that jnana dipti, no? So he says the only way by which you can remove the ashuddhi from your inside is through pranayam. Pranayam will remove the ashuddhi and it will bring in the inner light. Tatakshiyate prakasha avaran. Prakash avaran is the ashuddhi. प्रकाश के ऊपर का आवरण मतलब है वो अशुद्धि है, तो प्रकाश अपने आप ऊपर हो जाएगा. सेल्फ इल्यूमिनेशन विल हैपन व्हेन यू डू प्राणायाम. And another thing which will happen when you do pranayam is the last sutra, dharana sucha yogyata manasa, which is the most popular and most my favorite sutra. Dharana sucha yogyata manasa means pranayam alone is the prerequisite of dharana, which is concentration. Your mind can concentrate only when you do pranayam. That is why in our regular class, we spend more time in doing breathing exercises and pranayam, and that prepares our mind to do meditation, to concentrate on one point. If you try to do concentration on one point without any preparation of pranayam, it will not happen. And just on the basis of this sutra, we have developed our infinite mind class, which I think most of you have experienced. GK is doing it now. GK and Vandana is doing it now. Okay. So that was pranayam. And the last sutra of Bahiranga Yoga is Pratyahar, today's last sutra, which is last two sutras rather. Svavishaya samprayoge chittasya swarupanukar ivendriyanam pratyahara. Sandhya, you want to speak?
Yeah, I can. Pratyahar is Swavishaya. Swa is self. Vishaya is area of interest. So my area of interest is what I like or what I can experience is my area of interest. So the sensory organs have their own area of interest. So each sense can see, listen. So पांच इंद्रिया और उनके पांच areas of interest. So when Patanjali is describing Pratyahar, he says Swavishaya asamprayoge. That means the senses are withdrawn from their respective activity and they are following chitta swarupanukara ive indriyanam pratyahara. So in pratyahar, the indriyas are withdrawn from their area of interest. So if the indriya is withdrawn from area of interest, then it has to go somewhere. So if it is disconnected from outside world, it will be connected to
The
the
chitta.
inner, which is the chitta. So again, we are coming to the from Bahiranga to Antaranga. So external is a gross world, external body, and now my five senses are also my external because they take me out to the world. एंड नाउ व्हेन आई एम प्रैक्टिसिंग प्रत्याहार, जो मेरे से जैसे अपने कार्टून में नहीं होते ऐसे उसके आईज पॉप होते हैं, कान पॉप होते हैं, सो दैट द व्हाट इज टेकिंग अस आउट is now drawn in. So if it is gone in, it will still do its job of data collection, and now it will do the job of collecting the data internally. So that is why जो हम बोलते हैं कि ज्ञान मुझे अंदर से आता है, मुझे आइडिया सूझा. कहाँ से सूझा? मेरे अंदर ही तो था, तो जाके मेरे मन में आया. तो वो मुझे अंदर सूझने के लिए, मुझे वो अंदर आने के लिए, अंदर का जो लेख है वो एकदम शांत होना चाहिए. That's when I will be able to see the pratibimba. That's when I will be able to see the reflection. So only when the senses are totally quietened, they have withdrawn from external, so there is no outside data coming in, so they are looking at the internal data, and then that internal data will also eventually stop creating those waves. So मुझे मेमोरी से भी मुझे वेव होता है ना. मैंने भले समोसा मेरे सामने नहीं है, पर समोसा की याद आके भी मेरे अंदर वो वेव जगाएगा ना, मेरा क्लेश जगाएगा ना. तो ये सब भी शांत हो जाने वाला है, बिकॉज द वेरी चित्त विच इज द uh, 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 holding all the memories, which is holding, retaining everything, that also is going to become shanta by practicing this withdrawal of senses. And that's why the dharana sucha yogyata manasa comes first, and then pratyahar. And now अभी विड्रॉ कर लिया, अभी धारणा करना है, तो कहाँ धारणा करेंगे? So then there is the next sutras wherein we will be learning the Antaranga Sadhana and we will unfold the further path of yoga.
Tatah paramavashya indriyenam.
Tattva paramavashyate indriyanam. So the minute my senses are withdrawn, that means I am having a complete mastery over my senses. अब मैं मेरी इच्छा से ही मेरा कान सुनेगा, मेरी इच्छा से ही मेरा आंख देखेगा. तो इतना परम वश में आ गए मेरे इंद्रिय, तो इतना उसको वश में ला लिया, तो अभी उसका कुछ तो उपयोग होना चाहिए. और वो उपयोग ही होता है कॉन्सेंट्रेशन. अंतरंग साधना में ही इसका उपयोग लाना है मुझे. एंड दैट्स व्हेन आफ्टर फ्रॉम द बहिरंग योगा we are entering in the realm of antaranga yoga, that is dharana, dhyan and samadhi.
So this was the revision of the entire 5 Bahiranga Yoga which we have done till now. We did talk about Dharana. We did one class on Dharana, which is Desha uh, De-
देश
Bandha.
देश चित्तस्य धारणा.
Desha Bandha Chittasya Dharana. So fixing our mind on one location is Dharana. So first step is to fix our mind on something. And for that, I had given 1 or 2 exercises, and I'll give you
पतंजलि
more. I'll give you something more in this week as a homework as
okay.
dharana. But you will have to do the pranayam before that. When you only after doing the pranayam, you will be able to do the dharana properly. Okay.
That is from conscious level, you have to do the pranayam. Change
Yeah,
either the kumbha, yeah,
correct. Conscious only. Pranayam has to be conscious. Left to
conscious,
right, right to left. All this has to be
yeah,
conscious. Yeah.
yeah,
That itself, that is the definition of pranayam.
yeah. Thanks,
So,
Nitin, for this revision. Wonderful revision.
so we'll end the class and we'll go back to the field.
No, I was
Excellent explanation.
trying to
Thank you.
concentrate. I didn't see the Bangalore match actually.
Okay,
I,
okay. No,
Nitin, I
no,
was
no,
concentrating here.
no harm in doing that.
Yeah,
Definitely one should go and watch
yeah.
your team doing well or
Yes,
bad.
yeah,
What? Okay, so we'll end
yeah.
the class. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.
Thank you. Excellent class. Thank you.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. Have a nice
Thank you.
good
Bye.
night. Good night.